Hey everyone, it's Matt C. And boy, oh boy, did I see John Wick 3. Oh man. Oh geez, where to start? So I started with John Wick 2. I saw it on a plane a couple years ago. I'd never heard of John Wick 1 or 2. Didn't read the comics. That's you get on a plane, it's kind of your time to check out movies that you don't typically you don't go out of your way to see in the theaters. You don't check out on Redbox. But I pressed play on it and I fell in love. That movie. You know, I hate it when people they do those like 12, thread deep tweets. That was like the only time I did that. Was talking about everything I loved about that movie. It kind of changed my life. Uh, and then I went back and I watched John Wick 1 with my buddies about. I guess it was a little bit later. I kind of have this thing where if I really like something, I kind of take my time with it. So I didn't jump into John Wick 1. I think I saw it. Yeah, I guess it was about a year, maybe it was a bit less. Love that too. It was kind of nice. Got to treat it like a prequel to what was my first introduction, and this one was coming up, and it was almost like, personally, I was thinking, I feel like John Wick 2 really broke open this. It got past the freshman or the sophomore slump. It demonstrated that it could, lightning could strike twice. And I think like that's when people were talking about it. That's when I heard about it. That's why I pressed play on that plane a couple years ago. And I kind of felt like people were a little less. Um, I don't know. Like, a lot of people were excited about this one, but I guess it's like, can lightning strike three times? Like, are they gonna keep on track as this gets? It's making more money. It's on a lower budget, but um, it's got like a fan base, and it's moving along. Like, can they keep this going? And they pulled it off, and it's great. Um, uh, Definitely go see it. Definitely go see it. Spoilers. Um, Man, what to say? So there's this adjudicator girl, and like, I'm trying to think of like what if I had anything that I didn't like about it. I don't think adjudicator was a little weird. She walks in and you're like, okay, like, she looks cool. Everyone looks cool. Um, uh, and then you hear her voice, and you think, oh man, it's like 10%, high school thespian, 20%, maybe, I don't know, like, she's not. Uh, I'm not quite impressed, but then again, it works. That's the thing. I ended up loving the adjudicator by the end because I realize she's playing a different class of character, and that spoke to me because we've seen two John Wick movies, and we've got different types of characters in both, a lot of types of characters, but we haven't seen something like that, and we haven't seen someone who uh, doesn't fight or demonstrate. And well, no, you know what? I take it back. She demonstrates an intimate knowledge of firearms. Um, yeah, she still fits within the world. That's the thing. Okay, so that gets me. This is like my big thesis for John Wick. It's basically, it's the United Nations of cool, right? That's not really a hot take. Everyone, they either know it and they say it, or they felt it by now. Um, like, how do you say, it's not like, it's not the liberal version and it's not the conservative version. It's kind of, it's floating atop both these stupid left right paradigms that we play with race and culture, and just saying, uh we're having a parlay and everyone's cool, all right? uh, man, so I just get speechless just thinking about this stupid franchise. I love it so much. It just so basically the best fights are they pack a lot of the as you know, John Wick, like every fight scene is kind of an art piece. It's kind of a concept. Like, okay, we're only gonna fight with guns, and it's gonna be in a horse stable, or we're only fighting with knives, and we're gonna see where we can push that. It's kind of got that martial arts kind of how can we showcase a particular fighting style in a particular room with particular limitations. And it's always been great about that. And it packs a lot of creativity at the beginning, and then it packs a lot of, I'd say, showcases a lot of talent at the end. There's some decent fights in the middle. Halle Berry shows up. She's great. I've been wondering where my girl's been for, I don't know, since I feel like she did Swordfish, and then she got pulled in the reins, and would just kind of pop in here and there, and she's popping in here. But she did a great job, and I think that's kind of the lowest point would be, she's got her computer generated attack dogs who kept doing the same, it's like, it's John Wick, right? So there's dogs and there's guns. So they give Halle Berry guns and they give her 2 dogs, and it's badass. It's cool. But I think one of the cool things about John Wick is always, you're watching people, you're watching good direction, but you're watching good fight choreography. And once you switch into, even though they kind of blend it, but once you switch into CG dogs, the audience is going to be less impressed. I was less impressed. But she gave it a great shot, and my buddies that I saw it with, they like the dogs, so what are you gonna do? So United Nations of Cool. They introduce you to like 3 to 5 languages each time, and kind of make them cool. What language isn't cool? But you know what I mean. Like, they always like kind of tip their hat towards a new kind of set of cultures, which is always interesting. And it's just so beautiful because it's always those of you guys that follow me at all, that I kind of have I got a thing. I got a romance with the sands, with the Middle East. And what do they do in this movie? The one guy who's above the high table. I guess this is a big-ish spoiler. They're always talking about who's the top dogs in this whole assassin world. It's the high table. There's one guy above it. He's some Berber hanging out in the Sahara with 12 guys and a couple camels, and he's as awesome as the rest of them, and he's on top of it all. It's cool. Like, I don't think that's something the left would do. I don't think that's something the right would do. It's just something you do when you're literally so woke. Everyone's already equal and everyone's already cool in your eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of chicks, there's a lot of dudes in this movie, and I don't think anyone has ever said, you know what, because of that gender or because of that race or that sort of thing, I kind of feel like you pulled your punches, or I kind of feel like you had like a lowered expectations kind of thing to accommodate X, Y, some sort of hierarchy of identity. That's never been the case. Like, so they do a fantastic job with that. I just feel refreshed. I told my buddy this. I feel refreshed after seeing these things. Yes, there's so much violence. You'd have to be a sociopath to not wince at most fight scenes. And it kind of reminds you that you're human, which is nice. And it also, it's just cool. Like, I don't know. I I like pretending I'm a anthropologist on Twitter, so watching people globe trek and celebrate different real cultures in a highly stylized, artistic kind of gun-fu kind of flick always excites me. Okay, and then lastly, uh, this movie shouldn't have this whole series shouldn't be made. It's 20 years old, and yet it works so well. It's such it's exciting because it believes in itself, even though this whole genre, uh, if the tastemakers had their will, this whole thing should have died in, I don't know, 2004. The whole, um, let's have this narrow color range, and everything's got to be green and red and maybe some highlights of blue. Remember Amelie? Do you remember Amelie? Do you remember how you liked that movie? That was like in 2001 or something. Or what are you, like 40? Like that was a long time. They're still doing it. They're the only franchise doing it, and it's brilliant and it's beautiful. It doesn't age. Like talent, beauty doesn't age, right? Like even I guess, like as far as the aesthetic goes, which was gorgeous from, tip to bottom, it's always been nice. The only, like, the endearing naivety, I guess, naivete. Is that how you? I gotta watch more John Wick movies. I need to learn different languages better. The naivete to they keep with this, like, 9 Inch Nails drum and bass guitar music. Like, who plays guitar anymore? Who do you think? Like, I think remember that guy from Bush who married the girl from No Doubt in like 1997, and how he was cool. Like, he plays the outro song. Like, what are you guys doing? This is and it works. It's beautiful. Like, that aesthetic died. It died, and it's totally back. And it didn't have to. Aesthetics don't have to die. Trends don't have to die. They just have to be overplayed. People get tired of them. You take a break. You go watch some. You watch Harry Potter. Like, what was big? You go see Fantastic Beasts or Marvel. You go see a Marvel movie, and then I guess that's your vanilla. That's your palate cleanser, and then you come back to something with edge, with something that has an aesthetic statement, very defined, very intentional, very confident, very an open and aesthetically satisfying concept film. And it's just so exciting. It's brilliant. I had so much fun. It's can you tell? Why did I even say that? Easily, as far as all three go, the first is great. The first is always going to be, it's going to hit the least high marks. That's usually how things go. It's trying to find its water leg, or its sea legs. Water legs. What is water legs? Oh man, a lot of people had water legs in these movies. I saw like 15 kneecaps get blown out, and it just turned to strawberry jelly. Oh my goodness, so many. Oh man, he made some people's heads disappear. Some armor piercing shotgun, like, oh my goodness. The knife scene. Oh, like, so many times you're thinking, well, this is fun, but they're not going to go there. And they go there literally every single time. Literally. When was the last time you saw a movie where you thought, they're not going to crank it up to 11 for every fight scene, right? Like, and you get to this point. When was the last time you saw a movie where you get to this point where you're expecting 11 each time, and you're just thinking, can my heart take it? That's all John Wick has ever been. and that's exactly what it will promise to be. As far as I've read, Keanu Reeves, he's saying, they've already started filming for number 4. Keanu Reeves says he's going to make as many of these movies as people want. He's listening to the fans. He's listening to the audience. He's finding his niche. I mean, it's a niche he kind of established back in The Matrix, of course, and he's refinding it. It's great. Totally recommend seeing it. I mean, that's not really a surprise, is it? It's fun. It never it only promises a few select things, and then it gives you each and every one of those as artistically and high energy. The sushi guy, he was great. I'm not sure about your acting. You're clearly a brilliant martial artist in real life. Your acting, he even won me over. He literally says to the adjudicator, he gives her some puffin fish or whatever the fish that everyone knows, if you eat it and it's sushi, like it might kill you kind of thing. It's like, that fish. Like, he gives it to her and he says, "No soy." No, he literally says no soy. This whole movie, I can't even go anymore. I never buy movies. I'm probably gonna have to buy this one. So anyway, yeah. That's my review. If you like this sort of thing, I'll be putting up stuff occasionally here. But that's my 2 cents. I got a couple comic reviews coming up too, and yeah, and I'm still working on my comic KYRIE. I got some. Give me a subscribe here, and you'll be seeing some more info as things kind of progress towards a print run. One way or the other, this thing's getting printed, and I'm taking more. I started taking some tips from John Wick 2 for KYRIE when I saw it 2 years ago. I'm taking some tips from John Wick 3 now. So anyway, give us a subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.